Okay, so good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm really good now. I'm really good. It feels good to be here. And I going back to what happened earlier this week, where we were experiencing those technical difficulties. Look at what was born out of that.
I know. That's
So,
pretty amazing.
and for folks that are listening or will listen in the future, we had some technical difficulties earlier that kept us from the first time in almost 2 years
Hmm.
that it kept us from moving forward with our normally scheduled Thursday morning mindful moments. But and I think we both freaked out about that
Just a little bit. Just a
a
little
little bit.
bit.
But then it's like, okay, surrender, because there's nothing we can really do
Right.
in the moment right now, except communicate what's happened with anyone that we could. But then out of that, here we are making some choices and growing from that experience.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, so it's something that we've talked about for a really long time, trying to, start some more digital content and, considering starting like a podcast or this or that, whatever the next steps are. And we've not had the right timing to have that happen. And I think that it's kind of points back to like God's timing because, that
Yes.
a little bit of craziness that happened on Thursday morning
Mhm.
where we were feeling a little dysfunctional.
As per usual, but not.
I mean,
Oh gosh. And I like that because you mentioned God's timing and there being a season where it's appropriate and where it's easy. It was easy. I mean, other than the fact that we were uncomfortable that we weren't able to show up, right? That part was not easy and that
yeah,
was not fun. But in the surrender, there was peace about it. And then it just was the season for us to do this. It just the doors open and it was easy. And we had talked about this for months and months, and all of a sudden it became easy, and here we are. So I think there's a certain art of not forcing things.
I agree.
You know,
I think when it's forced, it seems so much more difficult. There's so many more
yeah.
challenges that present themselves and then the stress. One of the things that was really helpful on Thursday was, you kind of reminding me of we created mindful moments for a purpose of, you know, decompression and being present and, not being stressed and overstimulated. And so in that moment, allowing it to create the opposite effect wasn't going to do any good. And that was really helpful because I think it's really easy to allow things outside of our control to completely derail us.
Oh, definitely. I could have allowed that to take the whole day from me.
1000%. Me too.
You know,
And I had a pretty big day ahead. So
you
that was
did.
concerning.
You did. And I don't know if we would have been able to do that a year and a half ago.
I don't think
We
so.
probably would have lost our mind. It would have probably been really, it could have been different. I don't know what it would have been, but it could have been different. But what I do know is that I think the partnership, though, really matters.
Hmm.
You know, how we work together really matters, because if I would have been alone, like say Mindful Moments was just one of us,
Oh my gosh.
and that would have happened, oh, that would have been a horrible experience. So I think the company you keep, right, and who you choose to partner with, because I don't know about you, but I partnered with people before, and it wasn't like what we've had. And it was not like, oh, I chose the wrong person or people to partner with. It just wasn't where I was supposed to be. The people were great. The people were, the right people for doing what they were doing,
Right.
but not really the right place for me to plug in for what I was doing. And there was a little bit of forcing, a little bit of, ignoring that bit of a, you know, warning sign that I got, not about the people, but about where I was headed. Is this really what you're up to? And if
You
I
know,
would have been
I
honest with myself,
I agree. And I think we
then
have those little hesitations, it's almost like when we talk about like relationships, right? Like the red flags
uh,
that we miss.
yes,
I
you
think
know they're there. Don't give me that.
we choose to ignore them. And I think it's the same thing with life in general. Like sometimes, we're supposed to be on this path or there's things that are, meant for us. And we don't pay attention to that. And we allow ourselves to get distracted and try to force our way into these other things because it seems great for these other people. But
Yeah.
we're not them and they're not us. And so now we have this situation where like the person, like you said, might be incredible, but we are not meant to be in that space at that time because it's not a part of our journey. So it causes
Yes.
this friction and chaos and everything but
Uh,
mindfulness and peace.
yeah, and I think that, well, you and I talked the other day about the changes I'm making in my own household, right? About like letting go. And I'm a huge plant person. I love plants. I love all things plants. But there came a point where I had way too many to care for. And so some of them weren't thriving the way that they could because it would take me 3 hours on a weekend to get, literally, it was crazy. I'm like, I love this, but it's 3 hours.
Mhm.
And I have other things I love too. So is this where I want to spend, my time doing this? And the answer was no. I want to be able to focus on other things as well. So I gave some plants away. I found them new homes. And I feel like that it kind of relates to what we were talking about in as much as identifying not what matters, that might be part of it. What's a priority? Where do I want my focus and intention to be? And what are the distractions? You'd mentioned that too. I loved all my plants, love them all. But however, they were distracting me. And they weren't doing well because I was distracted. The poor things, they're probably much happier where they are now with whatever home they found.
Which is fascinating too, because I think you mentioned like a really good point. Like, it doesn't mean that you didn't love them, like, and it doesn't mean that, it was easy to let them go necessarily, but also recognizing like there's a season for each thing in our lives. And
Yes.
sometimes being able to check in with ourselves and our mental state and recognize like that something doesn't serve a purpose anymore or the same purpose that it once did.
Mm. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And it's easy to not slow down enough, I think, with the way that life is, we get caught up in this hustle and taking the time to step back and realize, like, okay, I love all these plants, but like, is it helping me or harming me in this current stage of my life and where I see myself in the next year, 6 months, whatever that looks like?
This is such a good conversation because it brings to mind and using this plant analogy, which you and I do that sometimes. We get on weird analogies. But it makes sense. It makes sense. The not thriving part
Yeah.
too, right? So I'm going to compare the plants to projects or things that you have in your life that you love. If I have all these things going on and I'm giving them all the bare necessity of attention to live, not even thrive, just to live. I with a plant, I would get frustrated, like, oh man, I can't believe I forgot to water you, or oh, now you have these little spider mites or whatever they are, and then it's a whole big production that I have to take the plant out. It's just a huge production to get
Right.
it back, like to where it's okay. Well, it's the same with projects in my life. If I have all these projects going on and I'm barely able to focus because there are just so many, what is not thriving starts to frustrate me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I forgot to send this email, or, oh, goodness gracious, I've got 2 meetings scheduled in the same day because I just am doing too much. Um, so by offloading some of those, which is hard, right? You mentioned it being
Mhm.
difficult because I love 90% of what I do. Let's be fair. It's not everything I love. But making the choice of what goes and what stays. Some of it was easy. I was like, okay, plant, I don't even really like you that much. I don't know who gave you to me. You're here, but you're gone. I did my best. But some of it was really challenging. So, I mean, have you seen that happen in your life where you're like,
Yeah,
I'm barely keeping these projects up in the air.
I've actually, so recently, I've gone through a lot of transition with work. And
Yeah.
so there's been a lot of changes in the way that my focus has been. And so that's been a little bit difficult because there are, certain aspects that it's like, okay, I have to take inventory and recognize like where my time is most impactful, who I'm
Mm,
connecting with. And while I might absolutely love certain individuals, like, and,
yes.
you know, probably will be friends with them for life, like, it's also a matter of like, okay, what do I need to do today that's going to be the most impactful for this particular moment in my role?
Yes.
Is it being here with this group? Is it doing this at this account? Like, what does that look like? We mentioned events. Is it partnering with somebody and doing an event versus, embracing spending more time in a hospital or,
Yes.
interacting with a individual therapist or psychiatrist, whatever that looks like. Um, so I think kind of like it's almost like what do they call pruning
Yes.
with plants, where
It's true.
you have to cut certain things out in order to bloom forward. And I think that that's
Yeah.
something that we all experience at some level, both professional and personal. I think that you and I have experienced that with mindful moments, actually.
If we have talked about probably literally 75 or 100 different projects or
Easily.
ideas easily. No, I mean, but the series we've talked about some random stuff that we're like, yeah, okay, that'll never work, but it's fun to think about. But we've talked about some really serious stuff that could happen and will happen.
Yeah.
Um, that's like when, I remember growing up, my grandmother would go out to the garden and toss a handful of seeds. These were wildflowers, a handful into the dirt. And it didn't seem like she cared much. And she's like, well, whatever is supposed to bloom will bloom. And I feel like that's kind of what we do sometimes. Like, all right, we're just going to see what blooms. However, there's also the focus time. She had other plants where she's like, was out there taking care of them. Tomatoes, I remember picking bugs, but we didn't use fertilizers and sprays and stuff. Picking the bugs off them that would eating them every morning, and really paying special attention to some of those things. And I think that life is like kind of like a mixture. We'll see what grows here, but then we really have to pay attention to this stuff. And um, in the fall, I think it was a fall, I don't remember, as a little girl, she would trim back some of her plants really low to the ground and cover them with mulch and something else, I don't remember, so that they could have a good chance at growing.
Mhm.
And I think that that's what you were just talking about. It's like, okay, where do we need to trim this stuff back? And it's fun because making that choice, that hard choice we talked about, actually allows for freedom.
I agree. I, for some reason, I keep thinking back to the brain dump activity.
Yes.
And I feel
You
like
want to
that
talk
kind
about
of,
that for a minute? You
I
want to talk about that for
do.
a minute, just for folks who are listening, so that you could, have a moment where you engage in this if it sounds right for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and while we're talking about these different things, like all this stuff that takes up space in our head and in our mind, and I think that that's
Mhm.
also, you know, uh, equally aligned with this conversation because there's so many things that happen within us every single day, and some of it is not serving. right? Like some of it is really heavy,
Yeah.
some of it is really distracting. And recently I came across this activity called a brain dump. And I've been on this journey of like embracing wellness and just trying to figure out ways to, be sane as a mom of three girls and a grandma of a beautiful little boy.
Love it.
And, and
It's
then the
Mimi. It's Mimi. I know
Mimi.
folks don't know, but now they do.
Yes, it's Mimi. I wasn't really ready to embrace the grandma role, but but point being is like, and then the professional aspect, like there's a lot that has happened in the last few years. And so really trying to recognize where things need to be pruned and what to focus on. So I came across this brain dump activity, and essentially it's like you set a timer and you just write down everything and anything that comes in your head. And it doesn't have to be like a full sentence of like, I think this or whatever. Like, no, 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 no. Like, just, I was thinking about fixing
Yeah.
the fence the other day, like fence, whatever it is. And you
I
set
love
a
that.
timer and just start writing everything you think in your brain down on a
Wow.
piece of paper.
Yeah. That gives, so I do know that there's a difference between um contemplating and thinking about something and actually putting it on paper. And I can't remember the science behind it. I'd have to do some research, which I'm not going to do. Um, but the physical act of writing it out, there's supposed to be something, some kind of a scientific measure of mindfulness in that. I don't remember what it is. So that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've set a timer as well, you're not giving yourself the space to spiral, because that list could be probably a little like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it just goes on and on and on forever. So if you set your
Right.
timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, that's a lot of writing that you can do in 5 minutes, 10
Yeah.
minutes. I'm assuming that's what it was. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess
So
you could
for
go longer if you needed.
Yeah, I think that it's like I don't think it's recommended to do it for a super long time. I'm not sure on like the specifics on as far
Yeah.
as like giving advice professionally, but I think like for me, I set
What do
it
you
a
do? Yeah.
timer for like the first time I think I did 3 minutes, and the second time I
Uh-huh.
did four or five.
Yeah.
Um, and again, like the goal, it's not something that you're doing to journal. It's not a matter of like, I want to be able to look at this later and, make a task list for myself. It's not about that. It's
It's not a
literally
to-do
just,
list. Okay.
yeah, you're just unloading all of the crap that's circulating in your brain. And I have to say that while I was hesitant, I'm like, okay, what's the difference between that and a to-do list or journaling or
Mm,
whatever? But for me, like there was something about it that allowed my mind to feel a little clearer, a little
yeah.
lighter,
Yeah.
a little more freeing. Like when I woke up the next morning, because I did it at night, and when I woke
Okay.
up the next morning, I didn't feel as scattered.
Yes. And that's the wholeness that I think you and I strive for,
Mhm.
of feeling complete, not feeling like something's left out. Um, and I think that that circles back to I want to feel successful. And if I have all this stuff floating around in my brain of the stuff that I always said the other word, not stuff.
Good job, good
Oh,
catch.
good job. We're trying to keep this professional. Okay. Um, that's a proud moment. Uh, if I, but I lost my train of thought.
That's okay, because I think we should really recognize that win. So we were talking
If there are bells
beforehand.
or date or something, maybe we need a bell every time I don't say cuss word.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a bell, but I can definitely, or like snaps or something.
It's so silly. Um, oh, feeling successful. And if my brain is always focused on the stuff that I haven't completed, and there's what how much stuff do I have in my house, in my life, in my financial life, in my physical health that I don't complete on a regular basis? My brain will go there instead of
Mhm.
celebrating the things that I did do. And so I think that that keeps me from feeling the success that I work so hard for.
That is really powerful.
I'm sure you don't relate.
No, not at all.
And nobody listening relates either. But that's just coming to me. I've never had that's an original thought by Anna Jane.
Yes.
I know. But I'm thinking about that and do you have that experience where we could have had a rock star day? Work, even in our family, which we won't go there on this, but we have families too that we have responsibilities to.
Mhm.
But those little things that circulate that they're like little funk. It's funk.
It is definitely a funk that can take over and consume. And I really think have a domino effect on more negative components to continue to
Mm,
build. It's funny because recently I think you and I have had a lot of conversations about how easy it is for us to see the loss or the negative or, the hard things. But for some reason, and I think we've noticed this with mindful moments and with a lot of the people that we, connect with in on Thursday mornings, it's so easy to forget to be mindful of those wins, those small moments that even the ones that just are little that bring a smile, like driving by the wildflowers in the
yes.
median,
Which this year is they're all over. So let's take a
Yes.
moment from that. Yes, you're right.
Um,
You're
and
right. We
I,
get to see some beautiful country when we're driving.
we do.
We do.
Especially living way up here in the sticks where we're at.
Yes.
Um, a blessing and a curse all in the same. Um, but I think even with these roles too, like, and depending on what area of behavioral health you're in, I guess it really doesn't matter. But, it's easy to get caught up in where we don't feel like we're winning instead of
Yes. Yes.
instead of that person, that waitress that walks over and you
Mhm.
connect with her and realize that she's struggling on such a deeper level and she opens up to you and just for a small moment you've built this connection and maybe even sparked some hope. um that's a
Yeah.
win. And
That's a
that's
huge one. We'll always have that too.
yeah,
I love that we were able to share that together.
me too.
That was a very special day. And those that's a sacred win, by the way, in my opinion. There's different types of winning.
Yes.
That was a sacred win. Um and those I feel like the ones that are sacred or holy or, spiritual in nature are less likely to be noticed, easier to gloss over,
Hmm.
than, oh, I got a referral.
Right.
I got an admission. I got a pat on the back from my team. Those things. And that's weird because that's oftentimes what I intuitively strive for. But it's when we can stop in the moment and recognize those types of wins that don't come with compensation or recognition sometimes. And we don't stay there too long. We don't give them enough attention, enough acknowledgement.
I agree. I think it's easy to let them slip by, but man, if we could just hold on to it for just a second and just acknowledge it. You know, when we start to look for the beauty in the smaller things and then the smaller wins, I think we're training our brain to see them more frequently. And so it
Yes.
allows for a more empowering future because we're allowing ourselves to see it. We're training our brain to see those little wins.
Yes, and it is a training and it's I think it's good to have people in my life like you, my son. I work with a life coach. I think it's important to have for some people it's 12-step fellowship. For some people, it's your therapist. But it's important to have people in your life that you have access to that can help you see these things. Because even though, Crystal, you and I, we're pretty, I don't want to say we're pretty good at it because that's like, oh, I'm so good at that. But we know the importance of it, if nothing else.
Yes.
We still support each other, and Mindful Moments supports us. The folks that,
Yes.
show up with us, because we couldn't do it without them. I mean, actually, we would just be doing this probably. But the people that we are able to connect with, they bring such richness, and being able to celebrate their wins with them. And we've seen babies be born, surgeries, healing from surgeries, advancements, promotions, all kinds of things. Confirmation the other day of, Carly's confirmation, and just all kinds of things.
Being able
Um,
to be there with a family member when their family member has struggled with certain
yes.
aspects of mental health or addiction. We've had a few of those experiences too, and
Yeah.
it's like we've made a community of amazing individuals, and I'm so excited to see where it goes and how we can keep expanding, to build with each other, because it is day and night. Like, it's a huge difference from, walking this path of life alone, like, versus having this community to remind ourselves to, like, take a minute to look at those wildflowers.
You're Crystal, I think you're really onto something. And I think that one of the things that anyone who shows up for Mindful Moments could expect from us is us bringing attention to those, um, and acknowledging those moments that would maybe go unnoticed because it doesn't fall into the realm of what traditional success looks like, or what we've been programmed for success to look like. I'm just going to say it out loud. You know, I think that folks can always count on us to bring that, and being aware of the specialness of the moment that of life that they're in.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I think we continue doing this is it provides us relief. It provides us hope. It provides us an opportunity to grow. And that's what I would wish for anybody that joins us, a chance to maybe refocus on the projects in your life. Where do you need to prune back? And I think it's important too that we're always available for a phone call from anybody that joins us. And we have taken them an email. You have questions, not just about, oh, I need a place for this person to go for treatment, but also just to talk about mindfulness, to talk about how can we help you win? How can we help you?
Yeah.
So, and that's part of what we do on a regular basis.
No, I love that. And I think that's really a great way to kind of wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
Our first, whatever you want to call this. I don't even know what it will transition into,
I
but,
don't know, but I hope that, I think that it's important for us to say too, because we've talked about this, before, as we're bringing this to a close. Recovery Unplugged and the Vines Hospital has allowed us and supported us in creating this mindful moment space. And I just want to say, thank you. Thank you to both of the organizations that we work with for allowing us, and not just allowing, and be like, hey, yeah, you could do your thing, but supporting it.
yeah, empowering us to create a
Yes.
space for other professionals in the field to, just to recharge. I'm so grateful for the role and the support of both our organizations, and, the for each and every one that joins us. It's amazing.
Really is. So this has been so fun, and hopefully it will support some other people. I would say, in case we do actually send this out, because we haven't even determined what we're doing with this recording yet. We do have a pop-up Thursday the 16th
Hmm.
at noon to 1. We're doing a lunchtime situation for those folks that, and we get it, getting up early in the morning, 8:30 every other Thursday morning is hard. So we're doing the pop-up, And join us. Come join us for your lunch hour. Grab your lunch, grab your notes because we know you're working through lunch. Or no, or don't. Just hey,
Or
maybe have
don't.
your lunch.
Yeah.
We won't tell. Promise.
And yeah,
And we
we
hope
hope
to
to
see you
see all
there.
you guys there. And if you haven't joined us yet and you need the link, reach out to us by email or text message and we'll get you set up.
Right. Have a mindful Friday. Or
Yes.
whatever day
Or
it
whatever
is.
day it
I
is
don't
when you're listening.
know.
Alrighty.